welcome to sacredsexualawakening.com. So today we're going to be talking about what it is to be a man and to become more woman. I'm at Coravida Treetop Paradise. I'm co-creating a heart-inspired wellness centre, and my gift to this place is not only the sexy branding but also my passion, which is heart space tantra. So yes, please check us out on Coravida Retreats on Facebook, and also just check out sacredsexualawakening.com. So today we're going to have an interactive conversation about what it is to be a man. I've got two divine masculines joining me, which I call upon me now. Come men, come, real men. Oh yes. I'm working with these guys, it's great. It's not actually work, it's a play these days. So, I'm going to ask this question, and I want you guys to join in as well. And if you're a woman, please join in too. We all have the masculine and feminine elements inside of us. There's an inner woman in us, and there's an inner man in you. You've heard of yin yang, Shiva Shakti. In the sex world, we've got dominant and submissive. We've got givers and receivers. In dancing, we've got leads and followers. So there's this inner balance in all of us. So, what type of man are you? I'm going to begin, just to get it going. I've always described myself as a lesbian blessed in a unicorn's body. I actually don't identify myself as a man. I describe myself as a wow man. And I apologise about the noise, there's a lot of building works going on at Coravida. So yeah, I basically have been raised by my mother. All my friends are female, all my tantra teachers are women, and I've just been in my Shakti all my life. So I haven't really had any male role models. I had a very violent, absent father, Elvis. I do love him now, so it's all great. And yeah, I didn't really want to be like Arnold Schwarzenegger or Sylvester Stallone when I grew up. So I didn't really have anyone apart from myself. And it's only until I started doing tantra I realised what it is to be a man. So I describe myself as a wow man. So I throw this out to you guys. What type of man are you?
Well, what type of man am I? I don't know. I feel like a man who shows up. I feel like a man who sometimes has answers, sometimes doesn't. I think in the discovery of self, we've come into this body as men. We have penises, we have cocks. Like, how do we show up? What does that look like? And for me, it's always shifting. I think as a child there was this egoic desire of I'm a man, and I, look up at these movie stars and these people, and it's like this almost fantasized world of what it means to be a man. And I find myself now, what it means to be a man, there's a softer, there's a gentler side, but yet there's still a very firm side. And I feel like that manhood, less ego and more coming from the heart. In my background, I spent years working out at sea as a merchant mariner. Went to a military academy. I've been with some fucking intense men.
Oh my god!
And it pushed my boundaries, it pushed my limits so much. I can still step into that role with all that intensity, all that fire and that fierceness, but at the same time, come back into that heart. So I feel like, for me, showing up as a man means showing up from my heart, and being from the heart means I can still be fierce and strong and present and vulnerable, yet I'm still being soft and open and allowing the world to move through me, and I just get to share what comes through and share that gift that's inside of all of us. And the gift of manhood is really the gift of creation. We literally, as men, have the seeds of creation inside of us to bring life into this world. There's something very powerful, something very fierce about that. That's really what manhood means to me, even more so. So when I'm working with people and connecting to manhood, certainly there's an aspect of manhood, but then it's that divine dance between embracing feminine that you do so well.
Beautiful. And say your name and what you do.
My name is Aaron Kleinerman. been working with people for well over 10 years, just helping people navigate their life, navigate their human experience go through the ups, the downs, the turmoil, the chaos, but coming back into really honoring and appreciating who we are as divine beings. I say I went from navigating ships to navigating souls. So that's what I do now, help people navigate their life and navigate into their own magnificence. So.
Sweet, thank you. Over to you, my fine sir.
I don't know, it's a hard question, isn't it? What is it to be a man? I think you have to think of it in compartments. So you would be a different kind of man at work, as you would be in play, or going out with friends or whatever. And then also with family, you're a slightly different man, you know, because you're either a father or you're a mate to people, to other blokes. So for example, when we go out with a group of guys, your manhood comes out in a different way because there's a pack of you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas if you're with your mum, you change. You know, you're almost a
mini
chameleon.
characters,
So I think part of being a man is to kind of be a chameleon and try and be as good at everything.
50 Shades of Man.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Because it is, you know, you must recognise that. You know, when you're with some people, your behaviour and things that you say and do would be different to other people. So being a man is that basically to me.
Beautiful. And what type of man are you though?
What type of man am I? It's a good question. I would like to think of myself as a leader. Some people say that, but I don't know if it's true. I think that's a key thing because that transfers into all sorts of things. I'm a father, but I haven't seen my kids for nearly a year. So, you know, that's very painful. And that part of me, which was massive as being a father, was then sort of taken away violently, and so well, not physically violently, but and so as a result, that being a father part of me, being a man as a father, is disappeared, as if they all died and they were gone. So that bit for me is almost parked until they get older. But in the meantime, I think men should have fun. Yeah, I think men need fire gazing time. It's true. It's a natural thing, isn't it? Because when you go out, you know, however many decades ago, or hundreds of years ago, you'd be out in the forest and it would be the men that go and do that, and then they come back, bring whatever they've got to give to the women, they make it, and they sit and stare at the fire.
I'd been with the women.
Yeah.
So girls, not going to cook.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's important to be a man. You need time and space and things like that. But yeah, I think men can be quite abrupt and short as well, whereas women are a little bit more kind of soft in terms of the way they approach the situation in some cases.
Beautiful. I mean, my intention this year is to become a man. I've never known what it is to be a man. It's only since I started Tantra I realised what this divine masculine energy is. And ever since then it's been a really interesting journey to come back into myself and reconnect to my masculine core. And this year my intention is to be love, to lead with the heart and speak from the heart and be a love warrior.
Beautiful, it's strong.
Yeah, so I think for me that's encapsulating.
And so I have a question for you in terms of you're saying you've never known what it means to be a man. What has been your experience in life with your manhood up until this point? Like, now you're becoming, if you will, a man. Like, what has been your experience in not being a man?
I just hang out with the girls. Just like I attract lesbians and bisexual women. Like like all my lovers are bisexual, or have been lesbians, and then they find me. So I haven't really had that many close friends. My background is the one male friend I've made friends with. I've always been a big butch buff version of myself, very masculine. And then they have sex with my girlfriends or fiancés. So that was my 20s. That doesn't happen anymore now. The patterns are over. But I'm still like the best friends I attract are always big buff guys. So yeah.
Interesting.
Read that.
Yeah. What's to say in there?
What's going on?
Well, I think it's an interesting experience to have.
So for me now, my mission as a wow man is to have the strength of a man with the grace of a goddess. Or strength of a god, grace of a goddess.
You know, and I love that, because one of the things that I've been walking through after spending so much of my life in this strong, like, presence as a man, like wearing a uniform and like being a fucking strong Shiva, being that, like, it was beautiful. But like in the last year or so, I've gotten into the space to really feel my emotions. But to feel my emotions and to feel this like surge of energy moving through me without having to put story to it. And to those tuning in here, I feel like that's a really big piece, is like being able to feel emotions but not push them aside, to really embrace the emotions of our being. It's difficult because there's a lot of men that have never cried. There's a lot of men who have never actually felt what it feels like to just completely let go of control. Yeah,
Because
exactly.
we have to be strong.
Yeah, I was going to move on to that actually, because it's true, we're under pressure quite a lot from, well, it can be from our partners, from kids, from work colleagues, managers, whatever. There's loads and loads of pressure put on men that you're expected to be, you know, you're the one that we were talking the other day, you're the one that's supposed to do all the humping and the jumping about. And all
we
that
got to
stuff.
give them all the orgasms.
We
got to fuck them open to God.
Give someone an orgasm.
I want to be fucked open to God, and now I am.
Just give out orgasms as if they're in a bucket. You know? There's one. So I think that sort of stuff is an unnecessary pressure. The pressure to be one way or another, all these things add up, and I think men have a lot of sort of that kind of pressure on them.
Well, that moves us on to our next question, which is, what does it mean to be a man in this day and age, and what types of pressures are we under? So think about that, my men, women. So yes, thank you for answering that. Already moving on swiftly, I love it. What about yourself?
What comes forward for me is this space, and Alex was just beginning to touch upon that. It's like this, in our day as a man, we almost have to perform. There's like this need to like perform, whether it's in the bedroom, whether it's in the office, whether it's with family. So we show up as men and we perform and we get the job done, but then there's often this emptiness that happens inside because we're just performing, like we're fulfilling this ego inside of us, but we're feeling empty within. So I think in our new day and age, it's being able to, yes, we still want to show up and perform and have goals done and things like that, but do it with more grace. I know one of the biggest things in the current
grace of a goddess, grace of a goddess.
Of a goddess,
be more woman.
One of the most magnificent things that's happened to me in my recent relationship is like I love, especially in the bedroom, performing. It's like this, like so much joy. Oh yes, gave her that much, but like to let go of that and still like be held, to almost be held in my own femininity, to be held in my own grace. And to feel that role between masculine and feminine really balance back and forth.
Yeah, it's the dance.
Yeah, and be willing to surrender. So I think in terms of your questions, as a man, be willing to surrender to the things that we really do not know. There's a lot in my mind, in my heart, in my body that I do not know. So simply saying, I do not know, is one of the toughest fucking things for a man to say sometimes.
Yeah. Like asking for directions.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Help us. This is what I've been saying to all my clients and lovers. I've been raised by women, and I'm like, help me be a better me. Tell me what to do, because I don't have a vagina. I have an energetic one though.
But and that really, it's finding again that dance, that balance between knowing when to perform and knowing when to just say, hey, I really don't know here. I'm going to step forth in my vulnerability, in my willingness, in my surrender, and just say, Spirit, God, creation, divine, whatever you want to call it, take me. Like, allow these hands to guide this body, in this mind, in this heart. I have all these gifts. I have all this willingness. How can I be of best service? And that level of surrender to the divine, to the unknown. It's really a surrender into the unknown of possibility, of what really are we here to do in this life? Like, what is it beyond our sexuality, beyond all of this, into that divine unknown, as we step forth still as the Shiva presence that we are.
Yeah. Beautiful, thank you. I mean, the pressure that we face as men, I mean, the highest suicide rates on the planet are young men. Like, we are under a fuck ton of pressure. We need to have a six-pack. This needs to be really buff. Gotta be big. I gotta make a six-figure salary. I gotta do all that shit just to be, you know, a man. I gotta have this car. I gotta have this. I gotta smell great. I gotta treat a woman to this. Gotta do that. I actually don't do any of that. Never really have. Because I've just hung out with women all the time. And I've just been like quite relaxed. But you know, the man, like the clients I work with, they are under a lot of pressure, and they're not happy with these fast cars, with these six-figure salaries, having to go down the gym. Like, I've had to coach them into just going, just breathe, slow shit down. You don't have to keep on going, you don't have to keep on achieving. I mean, I come from a high achieving background because I come from a strict devout Muslim family where I was forced to, you know, succeed, son of an immigrant, so we don't have a lot of money. From working class we made it to middle class, so we're, you know, we're doing okay. But the pressure I was under was a fuckload to have to buy a house, have to do really well in advertising, have to do this to get the attraction of a woman. And since doing Tantra, the more I become me, the more I allowed myself to connect back to my own heart, the more it's easier to attract without having to perform. And the beauty about Tantra is we don't have to give anyone an orgasm. We actually don't have to give anyone any orgasm. It's not our responsibility to give anyone an orgasm. We just have to facilitate and hold space for someone to have their own orgasm.
Yeah, and that's really...
And there's no goal as well. That's the beauty of it.
That's one thing I really would love to share in this space is that, again, for me, in this recent relationship with this amazing tantric goddess who just like treats me like a...
She is amazing.
Powerful, powerful being. But it was the first time where, you know, it was like I didn't have the performance anxiety where I had to give her the orgasm. I didn't give the orgasm. There was almost like this guilt that I did something wrong.
I think women feel that way as well.
Yeah, they totally do. Yeah. It's a two-way thing.
And I think it's easy for us to sit and moan about how tough I was and I just did it and you just did it. We've all done it, but you know, women also have those equal different things.
For sure.
But as a man, those things are, you know,
present as well.
You know, the pressure to perform sexually, even it might not be, you might not be under pressure from your partner, but society sort of pressurises you that you know,
TV tells us we need
that you're going to have sex for 5 hours and all that nonsense.
Well, I've learned how to surrender and be fucked open to God by women, very powerful tantric women who are able to dominate the shit out of me, and I get to feel like what it feels like to be, you know, most women. It's really amazing. And recently I've been doing a lot of man's work, but the only work that's been the most powerful to me has been taught to me by a woman, and she taught me how to be a tantric dominatrix, how to get women into like certain locks, into chokeholds and stuff, in a way that is more loving, more caring, more present, using a super present touch. And that taught me how to be more an embodiment of ultimate Shiva than all the work I've been doing about purpose, divine masculine, doing acro yoga with men.
I'd love to hear...
Nothing wrong with that, by the way.
I have my own thoughts with how God and sexuality merge, and I hear you saying the expression being fucked open to God. And,
I saw it on YouTube once.
And I love that. No, there's a great book I'm reading right now from David Yeager.
That's the one.
About, it's like, you know, finding God through sex.
And I have.
But the people that are tuning in, like, what does that mean? Because often God is this personification of this high being in the sky. Like, what does it mean to merge sexuality and God as a man in this lifetime, having a penis, showing up in to perform? How does God, sex, and penis all work? Tell me.
Well, anytime God's involved with any of the religions or anything like that, you know, to do with sexuality, it's all just banned or chopped off, isn't it?
Apart from this dude.
Yeah.
This Shiva dude?
This dude's really hot. Really fancy him. If you're going to be a god, you might as well aspire to be a god where his dick is worshipped, the Shiva Lingam.
Yes.
So for me, I worship God through sex.
Okay.
I've taken the goal out of sex. I no longer ejaculate.
Mm.
I've turned sex into meditation, sex into worship. So when I'm at the temple of my worship, which is the divine feminine, I shaft the ego aside. I channel Shiva himself into me, so he's literally possessing me, and I'm in a state of flow. Does anyone snowboard here or do some kind of extreme sport? Ski. There's a flow state if do you play tennis or any kind of sports?
No.
YouTube flow state. There's a flow state you go into when you make love, when you dance, where the brain turns off and the body just does what it needs to do.
It's your chimp brain that does it.
The monkey brain turns off. And then for me, my God comes out, the Shiva in me comes out, and I'm able to be in service to the goddess without having to think, oh shit, am I meant to touch her there? Oh God, am I gonna hurt her if I hold her like this? There's no monkey mind, there's nothing, it's literally just a dance of two bodies, and I do go up there. I get loads of information and downloads about what I need to do with my life.
And I love one of the things you say, I just wanted to pinpoint about going to the temple of your goddess. Like that's something, it takes this like, this quick 1, 2, 3 fucking I'm out mentality around sex, but really it makes this whole devotional space to feel like as a man, to feel your lingam, your penis devoted upon by your goddess, and then do the same to her. There's such a shift that happens in the mind. And again, it's just like, just exploring into this space, but create that exploration in your own life. Create that exploration where you can then become a devotee of your goddess. And whether your goddess changes every night, or whether your goddess is new, you know, you've been with for 20 years, create a new level of devotion to her as a man. That's the opportunity here.
Worship not just a woman, worship yourself.
Yes.
That's my
Yeah, you've got to
thing.
love yourself first.
You have to.
Yes.
That cup needs to be overfilling with self-love so it could pour onto someone else.
So you have to give,
Exactly. Which moves perfectly onto the next question. So, how can we be better lovers, partners, boyfriends, fathers, husbands to women? Think about it. I'm going to answer this one just because I'm so anal about systems. I'm in my Shiva too. I got the perfect balance, Shiva Shakti. So, for me, I live by the fire. I have a system. I am in abundance of love. I have my beloved, I have my lovers, and I have my tantric buddies who I could, you know, do tantric sparring with, which is great. And I have all this because of one key thing: transparency. So I live by the 5 pillars of transparent love. That's trust, truth, transparency, communication, and respect. Love cannot exist without trust. You have to speak your truth. Transparency, if you don't speak and be transparent all the time, it will store in your body and you die of cancer. Communication is the best lubrication. Respect means boundaries. All of those are key, fundamental to monogamy and polyamory. And there's a million different types of polyamory. Google it. And then I have rules of engagement. So before I go into any relationship or any sexual act, I ask them 6 questions. What are your intentions? What are your desires? What are your fears? What are your boundaries? Do you have any STIs? And what will this mean to you? And then finally, if a relationship ends, which no relationship does end, it shifts into something else, I do a relationship ritual, which is where you hold space for each other, you express gratitude, one person speaks, one person listens, you cut your energetic cords, bring your own energy back, and you say the secret magic words: what's mine is mine, what's yours is yours, I release you. And that's it! That's me done! That's it! My relationship works because of those small little things. Okay, you'll go.
You're so sick, you're setting ground rules.
Fucking boundaries. I'm so anal on this.
Well, I think one of the points you touch upon there, transparency. I think more than anything, I feel like communication, all of those other aspects of truth, but really when it comes to sexual connections or just within our own self, like as a man, to be transparent and honest within ourselves. That means that, you know, that vision or desire that we've been pushing aside, are we really going to listen to it, or are we going to continue to push it aside? And when it comes to interacting with the goddess, the more I'm transparent and honest with myself, then I'm that much more transparent and honest with her. And that's such a key point, and I know from my own journey, the more transparent I'm capable of being about my feelings, being able to tell somebody how you actually feel. It's such a challenge for men.
It is.
To actually communicate how you feel. It's okay, we have feelings. You have feelings, I have feelings, we all have feelings. So the transparency of emotions, I find the more transparent I am about my own lows, it gives permission for the woman to be, you know, more nurturing. Both my inner woman and the goddess who I'm with. And it's like that level of transparency just creates this like circular, like love vortex that just oozes up from the core and just surrounds our bodies, and it allows everything else, it allows the mind to come to rest so that the body can feel, the body can step into that much more. And so for me, transparency more than anything is, I think, is a huge opportunity for myself and for, you know, the people I work with and the humanity as a whole.
Yeah.
I'd say.
I think in order to answer that question about how can we be better this and better that, I think you need to try and understand women first, because if you're trying to evoke your feminine side, you're going to need to know how women work, which is a mystery. But but
we have one right here.
Exactly, it's not a mystery.
One right here. The mystery is solved.
Be more woman.
Yeah, so to be more woman, you need to know what the woman is like.
Yeah.
You know, because otherwise you're just making it up.
Yeah.
This is where you surround yourself and connect, you know, closely to your mother. I've got mum tattooed on my back. That's how much. Like, I have a great relationship with women because I have a great relationship with my mum. And also going back to your point about men finding it difficult to express their emotions. Scientifically, we use less words. Like they did a study. Men use less words than women. We find it difficult to express ourselves because we're not taught how to express ourselves. Women are in their feminine, so they connect, they could touch, they could verbalize their emotions a lot quicker than us, where it is difficult if we're in our masculine. Like, it's, you know, we're using the logistical side of our brain. We're trying to calculate our sentences rather than allowing it to come out freely.
And I find I was just working with a client recently, and there was a large imbalance in the dynamic between him and his lover. And it was very much, he was just so much in his masculine and his Shiva and wasn't giving any space for her to do the same. So she was super embodied in her feminine, which is beautiful. Every woman wants
are great.
The polarities are great. However, anytime that he stepped into his feminine, it was like there was this worry, this doubt, this fear. So the exercise, the opportunity for men in that space is to dive deep into the emotions. Just feel what it feels like just to emote, to be alone, to be inside the chaos of the Shakti, to be inside the whirl of everything and be okay with it. And not try to make story around it, but just be okay. And for the women to really step into that presence, step into that firm, rigid space of masculinity. And you'll find that if you're having that codependent relationship happening, the more that dance begins to unfold, then the synergy, the connection between partners really grows. Like, I love when I surrender as a woman and my partner comes in and just takes me over in her, and she gets so turned on by that. And it's vice versa. It's this dance that happens in the bedroom, in the living room, at work, at play, whatever it is, where we're continually dancing between those two. And I think that's the opportunity for men to really step into a new way of being.
I'm going to give you guys a little tool. So, if you're in a couple or in a relationship or anything like that, I invite you to switch roles. So the men, I want you to step into your feminine, and the women, I want you to step into your masculine. So I'm going to call them your inner half. So basically I want you to sit opposite each other and say what your inner halves are like. What are their names? What do they do for a living? What are their hobbies? What kind of clothes do they wear? And once you've really established and visualised what your inner halves are, fuck each other like that. Do it. It will change shit up, and it will be really, really powerful tool for you to embrace and own your inner half, and then meet like that. And it's a fun game as well, but also it's a reality. Our inner halves need to shine so we can embrace it.
And a point I want to say to this, and I just did a video with my beloved a few weeks ago about like being penetrated as a man. Like,
yes.
There's something so vulnerable to literally be penetrated as a man. And some of you may hear this and be like, wow, these guys are off the
Oh my
deep
god,
end.
they're gay.
Oh my god, they're gay.
They
What's
gotta
going
be
on?
gay. Burn them.
But I tell you, and let's just speak simply from physical level, there is more nerve endings inside of your dark hole, inside of your anal space, than there is actually in your phallus, in your lingam. So just think about that. A level of connectivity to all the other nerve endings in your body is so strong there, and there's a lot that as you begin to enter to that, you can begin to let go. Literally, shit, figuratively and emotionally. I found that my first experience with that, I was free as a bird the next day. Like I was floating. My yoga was just, I was like flying through the air, floating in my handstands. It was beautiful. It gave permission to be there. And it's vulnerable. It's a vulnerable space. I'm not just saying go there, like be delicate, be gentle, but have the willingness inside of you, man. And I'd love after this video, after all of this, to hear your feedback, hear your comments. Even if you're hearing this right now and you're like, these guys are crazy, tell us more. Like, what do you guys have to think about that?
Yeah, what do you think of bum sex?
not today, mate. It's not for me. It's not for me.
Have you ever had
No.
it? No.
I just don't fancy the idea at all.
He doesn't fancy it. Well, I shall tell
There
you
are
a
other
tale.
stuff.
There's other stuff. There's many things. See, I'm all about becoming more woman, and like I said earlier, I'm multi-orgasmic, and the reason why I want to be a woman is because they had all the orgasms. Now I'm learning about all the man orgasms, and I have a fuck ton. And one of the ones I discovered recently, just last year, was the P-spot orgasm. So who's heard of the G-spot?
Yes.
So we got one. It's in our bumhole. It's our P-spot. It's our prostate. And once we start playing with that, because we got to do the come hither thing on the G-spot, we got to do that on our P-spots to milk it, and you have this unbelievable orgasm. So my holy grail was, I want that orgasm. And randomly I called in this woman who was wild, and all she did was that. As in, I was thinking about, peaceful orgasms. And then this woman lover, she just happened to be a specialist at that. And then I had my first peaceful orgasm, and it was incredible. Then I got myself a Lilo vibrator. Check out Lilo's on Google. It's like £170 for a vibrator. And that's been my experiment to see what it's like to have these orgasms. The next and final question, how can we evolve as men?
I think we're on the cusp of manhood, where, you know, from the turn of the last century, all the way up like that, and men you know, hit the 50s and the 60s, and then men were the breadwinners, women stayed at home, and all that stuff. They were clearly defined roles, and society enforced those roles. Yeah, but now we're at the tip of the iceberg, where it could go all sorts of ways. It could be reverse, and men will be the ones that go into stay in the kitchen, the women go out to work because they're more creative, they use their words better and stuff like that. But also, if we're at the cusp of that, we can already see it. So within our relationships, you'd have people that would do, I do the washing up, and the other person does the washing up. You know, I cook, then the other person cooks. It's a partnership as opposed to before with a marriage. So it changes the definition of being a man, because you're kind of like, well, what am I supposed to do? Because I'm supposed to do everything that I do normally, and do things that a woman does. equally she needs to do the other the same way.
Yeah.
And that would have been completely alien 50 years ago. Now,
And what I hear in that is a almost surrender beyond the masculine or feminine form. It's a surrender to God. It's a surrender, not a religious God, but a God that's inside us all, a God that's connected inside of all of the beings, all of the universe, into our day-to-day life. In that, yeah, there's that dance between who's doing the dishes tonight, who's taking me from behind tonight, like, what's going on? It's like that. That's the opportunity to find this dance inside of life. Because sometimes as men we show up fully strong in our presence and our Shiva, and then sometimes we surrender. And like I know in my current relationship, being able to have the balance of both of that in our current day and age, it enables me to be okay when I don't have everything figured out, or be okay when it's like, no, we're doing this is the way, because then she surrenders. And that to me is a stance that happens not only on the outside, but it's more this marriage. I'm finding this marriage within myself. And I think that more than anything is the power stroke, is a power play to move forward as a humanity, as men.
See, for me, and thank you guys for sharing, that was beautiful. For me, it is this inner dance. Like, stage 1 masculinity is like macho man. Stage 2 masculinity is, I'm making this stuff up, the emos.
the emos.
The emos. The men who have disowned their masculinity. I disowned my masculinity because I don't want to be like my father. I didn't want to be this angry man. So I completely got rid of anything that was manly about me. Stage 3 masculinity is the wow man. The strength of a god, grace of a goddess. Vulnerability is sexy. We need to come from a place of strength. I'm not talking gun strength. I'm talking emotional strength. I'm talking spiritual strength. I'm talking energetic strength. Cultivating our strength. And I physically do that by cultivating my semen. Like, I don't ejaculate. So that's one of my practices where I get more testosterone. So that's a physical way of becoming more masculine for me, but also surrendering. Also, I always say vulnerability is sexy. Vulnerability, super sexy. Vulnerability gets you laid. If you're into that, not everyone's into sex, but I love sex. I love being vulnerable because do you know what vulnerability is for me? Authenticity, integrity. Just being ripped open. My heart's been broken so many times, and it's not actually my heart that's broken, it's the barriers around my heart, to the point that it's just cracked open and all I have is a big ass glowing heart, and anyone could take from it now. Like, it doesn't even matter. I don't care if relationships end anymore, because something amazing always happens afterwards. Like, have you been in a position where you found your twin flame and you've gone, oh my god, I found the one, and then they leave, and then your world falls apart, but then you find someone else who's actually better for you? That keeps on happening, right? So every relationship will end. How you win in monogamy is by the other half dying. Everyone dies. I'm actually not going to die. I'm going to live forever, but that's another story. Exactly. Oh, good. Yes, eternal men. So for me, it is finding that inner balance of the evolved spirit more than anything. You evolve consciousness. And the more you evolve consciously, the more you evolve physically. And I personally found that through things like Tantra, sacred sexual awakening, connecting this, and this, and aligning it and being truth and leading from this.
And being willing to do the inner work.
Yeah.
So much of this space is that when we get these emotional triggers as men, it's not he said, she said blame game. It's like, what parts inside of you, inside of me are triggered, and we bring these goddesses into our world. Yes, to have mind-blowing sex with them, but at the same time, they're there to trigger us, to bring us for our soul's evolution. They're there for as a teacher, just as we're there as a teacher as well. But embrace that teacher within you so you can see that in another, so that you can actually evolve in your consciousness. That way you have that much more to give and receive simultaneously at the same time.
The quickest spiritual growth, in my opinion, is through sex. And it's just, let's not get hung up on the word sex, because sex means a million different things to a million different people on the planet. I'm talking about relationships. Spiritual evolution, you're going to get triggered with by your twin flames, everything like that, and everything is growth, and everything is a lesson and a blessing. So being in a relationship, for me, especially as I'm polyamorous, I'm able to be in multiple relationships, deep, meaningful, committed relationships. I get to evolve and be able to move and shift energies around my body, so I'm able to be more present.
Yeah, and two things that you've brought forward that I want to, if you've never experimented with polyamory, go for it. I know for myself, I'm in a monogamous relationship right now, and that feels in integrity. It's not something I know that I'm going to do for the rest of my life. I don't know, it's like, it's stepping into that divine unknowing all the time. And the other piece I want to just bring attention is, if you're a man listening to this and you've never experimented with ejaculation control, experiment there, because you'll find, just as Shaft was sharing, that the energy that's released, literally these seeds of creation, can begin to spiral back up into your body, and can feel this orgasm move beyond just the area of your pelvis and your pubic area, but into all the orifices of your body, and you get these tingling sensations that just move and flow and go and be into like the beauty of humanity, that is our existence, that is our right, that is our love entwined capability.
What do you think about non-ejaculation?
It's not something I've tried.
I mean, even that sentence.
It's my favourite part.
Exactly, it used to be my favourite part. How does it end?
Thinking about stopping yourself from doing that is like torture, as far as I could tell. But, what do I know? You're the expert.
I am actually. Check out sacredsocialwebpage.com and let's have a coaching session.
Plug alert.
I mean, when I first got into this, when my mate told me that, I was like, fuck off, what? That's where it's my best fit, that's where I get all my energy from. I'm the opposite of men who ejaculate, actually go, oh my god, I've got all these superpowers now. Let me attack the day. But now I've seen the other side, which is, let me attack the day and some. So yeah.
It's worth a try, I suppose.
It's worth a try. Remember, you've got a very long, you're going to live forever. Just spend a little bit of that time not jizzing.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
There's certain things, you've got to turn sex into meditation. It's actually a bit of a practice. And the most important thing about practice is, it's the practice.
It makes perfect sense.
So let's end this little conversation about being a man and to become more woman. Have you got any final words?
Find your inner marriage, find that loving feminine within you, that strong masculine within you. Love them both, appreciate them both, and begin to balance your mind so that you can live and feel your life from your heart. And if you have trouble doing that, find me. I do a lot of coaching and I'm here to help as well. AaronKleinerman.com, always here to help, to love, to remember who you truly are.
I'd say to all the fathers out there, me being a father, that to treasure the time with your children, because they can easily be taken away from you. Relationships break up and then the kids disappear somewhere else and stuff like that. Things like that happen. And so really treasure the time and the space that you spend with your children, because we won't get it back. You'll never get it back, and you'll regret it if you do.
Beautiful, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And for me, my last bit of advice is, go fuck yourself. No, seriously. Go fuck yourself in front of a mirror and literally masturbate, man or woman, masturbate in front of a mirror and find your inner opposite and then bring them out the mirror and have sex with them.
And love them.
And love them and hold them and honour them.
Yeah.
So that inner marriage becomes real. Because once you start vibrating at that frequency, you'll start attracting more and more and more of the right things, the right people into your life. Because you're going to be overfilling with self-love. And that for me is the foundation to manifestation. So thank you guys.
Thank you.
And thank you, and see you on this little screen again. And check out all the links below. There's going to be a few links below, how to not ejaculate, and links to other things. So yes, shalom. Ciao ciao for now.
Namaste.
Au revoir.